And now on stage is the Niseido Jujitsu demonstration team, showing you how not to walk down the streets of a big city.
Always popular at the U.S. Open, the Niseido demonstration. It changes from year to year, but one thing is consistent. They show tremendous self-defense skills, and it's very entertaining at the same time. Lisa Melman, a new black belt, showing what she's got.
Similar to what happens on Waveland Avenue when Sammy Sosa hits that home run.
Chris Farrow is the black belt on center stage now. Again, a young, very talented new black belt in the Niseido system. Mike Birch, known for his strength and his throws.
What an amazing display.
Just all types of weapons and now a shotgun. Ritchie, one of the throw specialists in the Niseido school. Now David Witt, senior black belt at the Niseido Jiu-Jitsu school in Lake Worth.
I am worn out just watching him, Mike.
Multiple opponents, multiple techniques. Using the weapon against the attacker.
Oh, and there's the helpless old man with the cane.
Now, a real treat. Usually not in the demo. He usually is just the coach. He's the founder of the Niseido system. Master Richard Riccardi, 10th degree black belt. Real treat to see him participating in the demo.
Not for that young man. A great performance from the Niseido Jiu-Jitsu team. Quite a treat in Orlando. Back with the men's forms competition. Jon Valera will open the men's forms competition. He's been an inspiration to a lot of young kids to take up the sport, and it's those kids that still push him.
Every time I see a new kid out there just throwing all these wild tricks out there, and I know he's coming up, I can see it, I know who's got it, that kind of, actually that helps me because it motivates me. It shows that, all right, this kid's coming up, he's gonna be gunning for me, so I gotta prepare for him, so it makes me work harder.
Always one of the more intense competitors in one of the more intense competitions. We've got some great names here in this men's form competition. Valera, the top man in this sport right now.
The best in the world are here. Jon Valera, in the shadow of Mike Chatterandabit in recent years. Chatterandabit at the ripe old age of 23 has moved on somewhat to his camp chat seminars worldwide and to film projects. Considering retiring from the circuit, that would leave Jon Valera as the premier competitor throughout the world. Oh, incredible balance on that backflip.
I have always been impressed with his speed as well.
He's not just fast, but every technique is very precise. It's on target. No hesitation, no movement after the landings.
What a tough thing for all the other competitors to watch. Jon Valera in the leadoff spot. An amazing performance to open up the men's forms competition.
Great intensity here by Jon, but well combined with speed and focus in his techniques.
Judges' marks are in. 49.95, short of perfection, and will open the door for the rest of our talented competitors, one of which is Richard Brandon. You may not realize it, but you've probably seen him perform. Maybe not in this clothing, but something a little more exotic.
A friend told me about this some kind of show called Power Rangers, and I was like, all right, I'll go try it. I went there and I auditioned. I did every weapon I knew, and before I knew it, I signed a contract for a year, and I was working on the show for about a year and a half, and I doubled for the Black Ranger, the Blue Ranger, the Green Ranger, and if we were late for work, sometimes we'd get knocked down to putties and pudgy pigs. So we basically played all the characters.
You know, he doesn't often tell people he played the Pink Ranger. We had him open up for us. 34 years old, from Huntington Beach, California, Richard Brandon, the oldest competitor here. Though you would never think that by his performance.
Just tons of energy here by Richard Brandon. He's taken a traditional wushu form and turned it into a bravado performance of just speed and passion.
Richard is also coming off a broken leg sustained while filming a Power Rangers episode, and he has come back from that remarkably well.
Wasn't able to train for 8 months from that leg break, but he's back, and he's back in style.
Wow.
Head rolls, brings it up, takes it down with a double kick off the mat, kip up.
Non-stop energy from Richard Brandon.
Those air walks, followed by the barrel roll down to the leg sweep. Classic Richard Brandon moves showing flexibility and timing.
And with a mark also of 49.95, he is tied for the lead with Jon Valera. And now David Douglas from North Hollywood, California, 21 years old.
David Douglas, one of the new breed of competitors, just a few years out of the junior ranks. This is his first year, full year on the circuit. Hasn't established himself with the judges as a consistent leader yet, but what a spectacular form this young man can execute.
A trademark of Douglas are the huge aerials. Getting the crowd into it. Under control at every second, David Douglas. And that'll do it for the young man from California.
Very strong legs and high aerials as a result, a trademark of David Douglas's techniques. Here we him go into a 720-degree jump spinning hook kick followed by a reverse tornado, a combination of fast hand movements.
And for David Douglas, 49.94, currently tied for third place in this men's forms competition. It is Valera and Brandon tied for first. Back to Orlando, Florida, we continue the men's forms championships. Kendo Nguyen from San Jose, California. Huge aerial to start off his form.
Kim Do's a Korean stylist. He's been schooled for years in the Ernie Reyes system. In high kicks, spectacular techniques, big jumps.
We have seen Kim Do in earlier shows in the breaking competition, and he impressed us with the height of his kicks. And there you see, oh, a huge barrel roll to the full split.
Along with David Douglas, probably one of the most athletic competitors on the circuit this year.
And a shock of electricity through the crowd here in Orlando in appreciation.
This move illustrates just the kind of strength and timing he's got. Very difficult move into a full split.
49.95, so he is tied with Jon Valera and Richard Brandon for first place. There will be a runoff. There you see it. Triplicate, 49.95, Valera, Brandon, and Nguyen. So what that means is they will have to get back on the mat. In a tiebreaker form, Jon Valera.
The form Jon will do for the runoff is slightly shorter, but more dynamic than his form that he executed earlier. Nice jump spin, 720. Executed 4 kicks on that one jump.
Not only is the form difficult in itself, but he went off the mat before thinking his night was over. Having to come back and regain that intensity just shows the mental discipline that Valera possesses.
He's one of the best at that. He actually gets better the more times he has to compete.
So there is the runoff form of Jon Valera. A 3-way tie for first.
4 kicks executed in that one jump. Very intense, short, but to-the-point form by Jon Valera.
And a score of 49.96 for Valera. Brandon and Nguyen will try to beat it when we come back. The U.S. Open World Martial Arts Championships brought to you by Paul Mitchell Hair Products. Paul Mitchell, available at salons. Ask your hairstylist. The men's forms runoff tiebreaker. This is Richard Brandon. Jon Valera has the markup of 49.96, and anticipation, you hear the screams in the crowd.
Richard Brandon's going to remove his top for this form.
He's in pretty good shape.
34 years old, still in great shape. He knows he needs something special to beat that performance by Jon Valera in this runoff. Different type of form than what he did the first time around. He's really going to emphasize by having his shirt off the kind of muscular tension, contraction, timing in that contraction that he can do like no one else. He wants the judges to see.
Is it their benefit to have something different when you're in a runoff situation like this?
He's not going to beat Jon Valera on intensity or technical expertise. That was as close as we come to a perfect form by Jon Valera. Brandon with the wushu form, it's a different type of form, but he needs more than just the grace of the Chinese form. He needs to show something in the upper body.
And there is Richard Brandon. His runoff form. And those headstands again.
This was very nicely done by Richard Brandon. The headstands come right into the high kick.
And he is falling just a bit short of Valera. A score of 49.95 will not give him a first place. But still, he thrills the crowd here in Orlando. And now, Kim Do Nguyen, the third of the 3 tied for first place. Again with a huge aerial to start off his form.
Interesting, this time there's no music by Kim Nguyen. Instead, he's going to try to get the judges to hear a little bit of the power in those techniques. Very flashy, but he's got some good strength, too. Little stumble there, that'll hurt him. Nicely done.
Kim Do Nguyen of San Jose, California. Very athletic performance, but will it impress the judges enough?
Keep in mind, only 1/100 of a point separates Valera and Brandon, and even a slight stumble at this point in this kind of competition means you're not going to be a winner. That stumble coming off of that somersault is going to hurt him.
Moment of truth for Nguyen, and yes, it does hurt him. Third place with a score of 49.94. Brandon in second place, 49.95. Valera takes it. Mike McCoy's with the top two finishers.
Well, first of all, guys, let me congratulate you on a fantastic performance. This is your second tie of the night. How do you feel?
Huh? Yeah, I am dead tired of it. But I can't. I got to give it up to Rich and especially Kim. Two great competitors. They pushed me to the limit, and they brought the best out of me. So thank them. Thank you, guys.
Anytime, brother.
Thank you.
Now, Richard, you were the oldest guy out there. How'd you feel?
I felt absolutely awesome to be competing with these young guys again, to keep me going and keep me continuously to train harder, and with the great support of Team Paul Mitchell, and I'm going to go far. These guys,
Well, certainly you two guys have been mainstays at the U.S. Open, and you've been here the longest of all of us. Boy, I really enjoy having you. Thanks for the spectacular performance.
Thank you very much.
Our thanks to the Radisson Twin Towers in Orlando, Florida. Congratulations to Casey Marks and Jon Valera. For Mike Sawyer and Mike McCoy, I'm Lon McCarron. So long from Florida. Centuries ago, when the Chinese emperor banned peasants to own weapons, they improvised and used their farm tools to fight. Today, those weapons are seen in their modern incarnations and used in forums competition such as tonight's. Men and women who use these weapons like an extension of their own body, master the art of weapon control, and carry with you a world title and the respect of all. Welcome to the 1998 U.S. Open Martial Arts World Championships, coming to you from the Radisson Twin Towers Convention Center in Orlando, Florida. It's standing room only, as usual, at this edition of the U.S. Open. Welcome to Orlando, Florida, everybody. I'm Lon McCarron, along with Mike Sawyer. Very special performance we'll be seeing tonight from the demo team from the Team Chat group. But we've got some very serious business to take care of as well. Two world championships being handed out tonight. One in adult weapons and the other in team demo competition.
In the team demonstration competition, we've got the best demo teams from around the world, Lon. It's multiple members on those teams. Fantastic competition. The individual weapons, they're using Oriental weapons. It's formed with Oriental weapons. We'll be seeing Jon Valera and all the other top competitors on the circuit.
All right, Mike, the U.S. Open World Martial Arts Championships are being brought to you by Paul Mitchell Hair Products. It's all about a great cut, and Paul Mitchell gives it its style. Underway now with one of the masters of this form, Jon Valera, 22 years old, from San Jose, California.
Trademark Jon Valera form. Very fast, precise, high energy.
I was going to say, Mike, not only does he bring speed, but he brings a power rarely seen to this weapons form.
The finals tonight by winning the bladed weapons division in the eliminations. Nice hand switches by Jon Valera.
Jon Valera with the kama, opening up the competition in the adult weapons forms competition here in Orlando.
Good hand switches with the kama. Those are difficult moves. He combines it with some nifty footwork. A nice jump spinning hook kick.
Jon Valera now with a judge's score of 49.95. That'll set the tone for 34-year-old Richard Brandon. He's a responsible parent. He talks to kids all over the world about the distinction between real and TV fighting.
It's totally amazing because I travel the world doing martial arts seminars, and the main thing while I travel the world, I explain to them about Power Rangers and about WMAC Masters, and I try to teach them the art of TV fighting, because having two children of my own, I know how kids are, and they think that they can kick and punch each other and it's not going to hurt. You know, on TV, like, they're going to get right back up. So I explain camera angles to everybody on TV, that they're this far away and it's angles of cameras, and the kids understand it a little bit better. And they don't go around hitting each other. Or if they do play Power Rangers, they keep in that safety zone, we call it.
I've got to take my hat off to Richard Brandon for that aspect. Here now with the double broadswords.
Traditional Chinese weapons, the broadsword. Brandon's trademark is using both at once, combines it with nice wushu footwork. One of the original Paul Mitchell team members. He's been with the team for 10 years. Says he sees no end in sight to his competition.
An amazing amount of energy from Richard Brandon, and we maybe glossed over it a little bit too much earlier, but underscore his age, 34 years of age, going against kids who are 18 up to 25, and he's right up there with the best.
It's hard to keep the intensity going year after year, but Richard Brandon, even with the other things he's done in the martial arts, his seminars, his film projects, still loves to compete, and you can see in his face and in his body movements that he's totally into it.
And there you have it, Richard Brandon, the double broadswords, a very energetic performance, and he knows how to get the crowd behind him early on.
These head rolls are a trademark Richard Brandon move. Kip up, never misses.
But it's good enough for second place, 49.92 for Brandon. And now we move on to Gary Stearns, 28 years old, from Lexington, Kentucky, with a single straight sword as his choice of weapon.
This will be a very different form. It also is a Chinese form, but it's different from the wushu form we just saw Richard Brandon performing. This is a combination weapons form with the straight sword and drunken movements.
Here you see Gary now mimicking, taking the long drink from the bottle, and the inevitable movements following.
This signifies deception. The practitioner is deceiving his enemies into believing that he's intoxicated and isn't able to fight. Then you will see him suddenly take on the persona of a skilled martial artist. Gary Stearns uses a drunken form in his empty-handed forms competition as well. He was a finalist today in that division also. Nice airwalks. Keep in mind the judges score the form as a whole, but give special emphasis to the movements done with the weapon.
And an exclamation mark on Gary Stearns' movements. Gary Stearns from Lexington, Kentucky, 28 years old, with a single straight sword.
From the drunken movements to the strong kip up, although his body is moving like someone who's under the influence, you see the sword doing its job against those imaginary opponents.
And the scores are in for Gary Stearns, a mark of 49.94. Second place for Stearns. Coming up, Casey Marks makes her move into the adult weapons forms competition. Continuing now with the adult weapons forms competition, 18-year-old Casey Marks, Asheville, North Carolina. She was the top youth performer for many years, and now at the age of 18, now moved up in category, working with her bow staff. And now you may remember Casey Marks from years ago. You may have seen her on some other ISKA shows, and it's that trademark scream that opens everybody's eyes and ears to this performer.
Nicely done. Pitch and catch with the bow. Traditional Okinawan weapon.
Intensity is not lacking in this woman. Casey Marks, 18 years old, brings the crowd to their feet, and rightly so. A fine performance from Casey.
The bow staff is not the easiest weapon to handle, particularly with small hands, but Casey moves it around like it's effortless.
And now ready for Casey Marks' score is 49.95, and that ties her for the lead with none other than Jon Valera. Welcome to the adult ranks, Casey. Gary Stearns will be in 3rd place. Marks and Valera will be in a runoff for the Weapons Forms Championships. Jon Valera will be the first one to go. Again with the comma.
Again, Jon will perform his short form. Has a longer version, but he prefers the intensity of the shorter form, particularly in runoff situations where he's already spent himself somewhat on his first performance.
We have seen Valera in a runoff before in the empty hands competition, and as you mentioned then, Mike, he just gets better with each performance of the night.
Jon is in just such great shape. Seems to be able to keep the mental intensity up as well.
And there you have it, another fine performance from Jon Valera. This in the tiebreaker round.
Nice moves with the comma. You see the quick hand switch, followed by the jump spinning hook, and being able to integrate the empty-handed and weapons moves is very difficult.
And again, he gets better with each round, 49.97, a high standard to match now for Casey Marks. She is now ready with her bow staff and a big order to fill. Her first U.S. Open as an adult performer. And she's into the tiebreaker. A tough position.
Starting strong again.
She dropped the bow.
She let her hand drop a little too low, and the bow hit the mat and bounced up on her.
And by rules, she is eliminated. Again, she drops it, but out of courtesy to the judges, to the crowd, to her other competitors, she will finish the form. But you see a slight smile on her face, and she has broken character. Ever the entertainer, Casey Marks, always thrills the crowd.
But Casey on the turn, she just lost where the bow was a little bit. She let her hand get away from it. Once that happens, it's just too late, but she kept her wits about her and finished the form.
Third member of our crew is Mike McCoy, 3-time National Forums champion. He's with our top 2 finishers.
Hey, when you guys tied, the crowd was just absolutely lit up. What'd you guys do different the second time?
Basically what I did was I just switched my music and added a little extra kick in one of my combinations to just add the pressure to her. Since I know she's the rookie this year, had to put the pressure on her.
How'd the pressure affect you?
Well, I was just worried about being tired. Jon's a great competitor, and I think it's great that we have the camaraderie that we do because it makes it fun.
Well, the crowd just loved it. You guys are both great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
A great competition in the weapons coming up next. You don't want to miss this. Team Chat will put on a performance of a lifetime.